Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Can McCarthy, Zimmer prepare Cowboys for Giants on Thursday Night Football? It has been a difficult 2 weeks for the Dallas Cowboys, and a lot of folks are starting to feel the heat. After starting the season 1-2, these last 2 weeks have been hard to watch from top to bottom. It almost looked as if they didn't even practice at all during the week. Now, this team plays on a short week, although against the New York Giants, who the Cowboys have beaten up a bunch over the years. Do we think Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer can get this team prepared enough on the road against a divisional rival? Let's start with the head coach and the man who calls the plays. I don't understand how this team looked so bad after the Saints' loss. The Cowboys gave McCarthy a 5-year contract reportedly worth $4 to $7 million per season when he was hired full-time to replace Jason Garrett in 2020. He has won a lot of games in the regular season for this football team, and yes, has come up short in the playoffs, but they don't look anything like the last 3 seasons when they won 12 games. The offense looks like they don't know what they have. McCarthy is trying to force the run with guys who can't get to the second level. His offense looks predictable. They are not using the same type of motion we saw them do a season ago. I would have loved to see Dalvin Cook be active for this game, but guess what? Jerry Jones calls the shots on who is going to play, and he shut it down very quickly yesterday. I don't think this is the time that you have any real serious roster adjustments in at that particular time, so I don't think so because of the short week for sure, Jones said on 105.3 The Fan. Sure, Jerry, it's not like he hasn't been in the offensive meetings the first 3 weeks. At this point I would just stop trying to run the football, just throw it 50 times. That is the only way you are going to stand a chance. Mike Zimmer. Now let's touch on this side of the ball. The side that has been an absolute disaster the last 2 weeks. Per ESPN research, the Cowboys have allowed 557 rushing yards, the most through 3 games since 1963. They have allowed 5.4 yards per carry, the worst average through 3 games since 1979. They have given up 8 rushing touchdowns, the most in franchise history through 3 games. We thought the hiring of Mike Zimmer was going to at least help the run defense a bit, but it has been way worse than I ever thought it would be. Let me give you the big picture of how bad the run defense has actually been. It's been so poor that opposing quarterbacks have attempted just 31 passes the past 2 weeks. 31. That is crazy. I understand it is the Giants, but can Zimmer and McCarthy have this team ready to go in a short week? They sure as heck didn't have them ready after a full week. Darren Bland update provided by Cowboys, Mike McCarthy. Help is on the way for the Dallas Cowboys defense, and it's one of their most dangerous defensive weapons. Darren Bland, the record-setting defensive back who owns the NFL mark for most pick sixes in a single season, and the reigning 2023 interceptions leader, is nearing his return to the field. The third-year cornerback suffered a fracture in his foot just ahead of the season and underwent surgery to repair the issue, then moved to injured reserve for a minimum of 4 games. With the primetime battle against the New York Giants serving as the 4th, the Cowboys could open his 21-day practice window thereafter. Is that in consideration right now? It is, per head coach Mike McCarthy. We always felt like the Pittsburgh game is the point where we'd have more information, said McCarthy. With this mini-bye week, we're hoping things will rev up there. It would be a more than welcomed addition for a defense that has struggled mightily through its 2-game losing streak, though mostly in run defense, but also in allowing chunk plays in the air. Cowboys could pursue rampaging RB after Jaguars' abysmal start. The Dallas Cowboys need more explosiveness at running back, and the Jacksonville Jaguars running back could be the answer. Jacksonville and RB Travis Etienne have fallen to 0-3 after a 47-10 decimation at the hands of the Buffalo Bills, and the timing could work well for the Cowboys. Dallas is averaging a meager 3.6 yards per rush attempt, with Rico Dowdle going for 3.8 yards per carry and Ezekiel Elliott averaging just 3.3 yards per rush. There were concerns coming into the season about the group, and it's hard to say the first 3 games haven't validated those worries. That's where Etienne comes in. The Jaguars have had an even worse start to a year with big expectations, and a fire sale isn't out of the realm of possibility if Jacksonville decides to clean house. Etienne is under contract through the 2025 season, but his salary bumps up from $2.42 million to $6.14 million that year. In terms of a trade, Etienne wouldn't be a cheap option, but he would be a proven one. He finished 8th in Offensive Player of the Year voting in 2023 and has had a solid start, 4.6 yards per attempt and 2 touchdowns, to the 2024 season. While pulling off the trade would be a long shot, the Cowboys should consider Etienne if the Jaguars start clearing out. Etienne becomes rising star in NFL. When Etienne was entering the NFL in the 2021 NFL Draft, he looked like a complete package. NFL.com's Lance Zierlein, the former Clemson Tiger during that year's draft buildup. Rampaging, loose-hipped runner who wins with force and speed. Etienne's scheme will create favorable boxes for him to run into at times, but his contact balance and overall will to avoid being tackled has earned plenty of tough yardage, Zierlein wrote. However, Etienne suffered a Lisfranc injury in the 2021 preseason and missed his rookie year entirely. While an injury like that is concerning, Pro Football Reference shows how Etienne bounced back in a major way. The 25-year-old ran for 1,125 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2022, while also chipping in 316 receiving yards. He then outdid himself in 2023 with 1,484 total yards and 12 total touchdowns in 2023. The Cowboys lack a RB with elite horizontal movement, and that's one of Etienne's specialties.